Hello and welcome to High Vibe Astrology. This is Jennifer, and I'm back with a video on the Pisces total lunar eclipse drawn up for September 7, 2025 at 2:08 p.m. Eastern Time. This may be the last video I do for a little while. I need to take some time to consider what the eclipse energy is asking me to release so that I can bring in something new. And I have to say I'm really looking forward to what's next, whatever form it takes. I will still be available for personal readings, sound healing, and galactic activations, so you can always find me at soundworksbygail.com if you need or want support on your path. If you are listening for the first time, my approach to astrology is based upon the microcosm to macrocosm relationship. I read the chart drawn up from my location as I'm tuning into the collective energies. In this chart, we have Sagittarius rising, so Jupiter rules this chart. Jupiter wants to expand our minds and increase our faith in whatever area of life it touches. It wants us to realize the infinite potential we have when we consider what is well beyond our immediate situation or environment. When it's in the 8th house, it is increasing all things mysterious, misunderstood, or misrepresented. Above all, it is increasing authenticity, total transparency of our spiritual nature, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is the house of taboo subjects, our deep dark shadow, and in this case, we're referring to both individual and collective shadow. Jupiter is going to increase whatever we refuse to see within ourselves until we're willing to release projection of our own shadow onto others, which is really what forgiveness is. Unholy situations only show up for us as long as we feel we need that external reminder, and we get to the point of saturation when we've had enough and we decide differently. We want a new experience, and we start fertilizing the light that purifies what has been unconscious. Jupiter in the sign of Cancer is a focus on our family, domestic and emotional safety and security. For the USA, Jupiter is important because it rules our Sibley chart. And before I move on to the rest of this eclipse chart, I want to discuss the fact that this eclipse falls exactly on the same degree as the United States Sedna, 15 degrees of Pisces. I was listening to an astrologer the other day. Her podcast is Rewilding with Sabrina Lynn, and she was discussing the fact that we are in a Sedna season right now. The collective shadow is clinging to the boat, which is part of the Sedna myth, representing our past and resisting our transformation. The boat symbolizes a completely inadequate structure to contain the vastness of our true spiritual nature that is undergoing a major rebirth. And part of that rebirth is remembering all of who we are. We are individual souls that hold the infinite within every cell of our being, but our ego must go through its death process and let go of old attachments in order for this to unfold. I also love something else she said that distinguishes what we call the dark night of the soul as a misnomer, because the soul is always perfectly happy and swimming in the vastness of the Creator's bliss, remembering exactly who it is. It's really the dark night of the ego that is happening, both individually and collectively. So the conjunction of this lunar eclipse on the exact degree of Sedna in the USA's chart in the 3rd house is a massive reset of the human mind, how we learn, how we communicate and teach our children. It's initiating a brand new era of correcting, revising the history we've been taught with only partial truths and a whole lot of suppression and deception, to now include a reverence for all Indigenous people our true ancestry, and most importantly, the role of the authentic divine feminine rising. And the great thing is that Jupiter trines the moon and north node, helping us let go of the ego's baggage and embrace our lighter light being. It sextiles the sun and south node, which is a combination signifying the death of the ego. In Virgo, we still have to discern those parts of our individual soul spark, the sun, that we want to carry forward. We don't have to totally abandon everything. These are gifts we came in with, Sun conjunct the South Node. But there are certain things about the ego's identification that must die. So we have to identify what we want to carry forward towards the Pisces North Node destiny. Jupiter square to Mars in the 10th describes a very visible battle taking place between the collective consciousness and the collective shadow. Mars in Libra is energizing justice and desire to balance the scales between the two. How do we help this process? It is by doing our own individual work to balance and integrate our own shadow, the unattractive aspects we tend to project onto others when it's too painful to recognize these aspects within ourselves. But the Creator sees all. None of us can surprise the Creator. So we all have the opportunity now to approach the inner altar of our heart space, release all judgments toward our own shadow and others, those beings upon whom we project our shadow. Mercury is the ancient ruler for Virgo, and it squares the ascendant. So the lens by which we are seen, and in turn how we view the world, is clashing with our past. The ascendant represents the current energy rising and guiding us by way of a new perspective and lens to navigate life at this time, in this now moment. Venus trines the ascendant and also rules the Libra midheaven, what is happening on the world stage. So there is harmony between a new lens and perspective on the rise, the ascendant, and with Sag rising, faith plays a very important role, as does maintaining a lighter, more optimistic viewpoint. Venus in Leo in the 8th loves to shine a light on the shadow and finds joy in delving into life's mysteries. Venus is what we love and how we magnetize that to ourselves. This includes relationships and material resources. In the 8th house, Venus wants relationships that are authentic, no bullshit. They need to be transparent, they need to be honest, and vulnerable. It also attracts inheritances and investments. In its quincunx to this intercepted Pisces moon in the 3rd, there is an awkward tension we feel as we try to find ways to express these hidden mysteries in more accessible, believable, and practical ways. But this is definitely the task we have before us, with his moon's conjunction to the North Node. Pisces in the 3rd, intercepted in and of itself, is the energy of making practical and believable what lives in the dream world, the imaginal and formless realm. And because it is intercepted, we are finding new and creative ways to be able to somehow wrap our human brain around this field of dreams that, just like in the movie, is right in our midst, right in our backyard. So I guess that is the key. It is simply acknowledging that this opportunity is there, infinite opportunities, and it's up to us to believe it and work with it rather than stay in denial of its presence. On the other side, we have the Sun and South Node conjunct Mercury, the ancient ruler for Virgo, and this combination might make it a little more challenging to let go of the past. But that is what we have to do. And with Jupiter being in harmony with this eclipse axis, it is assisting and supporting us to go beyond our current situation, certainly our past, and to embrace the new paradigm. Neptune, as the modern ruler for Pisces, is also playing an important role in this chart, as well as the United States chart. In the eclipse chart, it's still at 1 degree of Aries, at the midpoint between the ongoing trine between Pluto and the Sudden-Uranus conjunction. And this retrograde energy in air signs clues us into the fact that our collective consciousness is absolutely retracing its past, reviewing and revising it so that we don't repeat it. And we are simultaneously discovering that our past and future resides squarely in this now moment. In the United States chart, Neptune at 22 degrees of Virgo in the 9th house is activated by this Sun South Node conjunction. And in the 9th house, Jupiter's natural domain, we are having to come to grips with how we have been so deceived and conned within the areas of our beliefs, worldview, health and health institutions we relied upon for our well-being, religious leaders, and organizations. All of this is changing for the better, no matter how it looks or feels right now in the public arena. And although it is a wide opposition to Sedna, I read this axis in the United States chart as absolutely connected and certainly being activated by this eclipse. All that has been portrayed as compassionate leadership while secretly plotting against the little guy to exalt institutions will continue to undergo a karmic reckoning during this eclipse season. And that is very good news. It is exactly what we have asked to unfold at this time so that we can awaken and remember and evolve. In this eclipse chart, Neptune straddles the IC in its conjunction to Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces, wrapping up, tying up loose karmic ends of the Piscean age. Neptune in Aries in the 4th is the sign of the spiritual warrior, championing all things related to domestic, family, and emotional safety and security. The fact that these energies are at the heart and center of this long-standing trine between the outer planets is like the universe saying, we're staying here as long as you need us so that you can restructure and reorient yourselves to this new paradigm. With a creator, there is always paradox. The source of all life is endlessly evolving and infinitely creative. It imbues everything it creates with its life force, so there is no separation except through human perception and limited understanding. But this 3rd house, 9th house axis, in both the eclipse chart and the USA's chart, tells us that we are very literally changing our minds and our long-range view, vision, and perception of our reality. Chiron square to Pluto is helping us heal these old wounds and misconceptions about power and control so that we can live from our true source of power, aligned with a divine creator. One of the hardest things for us to get as humans on this journey, especially as the ugly deeds of our collective shadow emerge into the light of day, is that we all played a role in contributing to this culmination of what we perceive as the enemy, the us versus them story. And as we evolve, this is what needs to be dissolved into unity consciousness. Anything we do or say to another human being, we are also doing to ourselves and to the Creator. Recently, I've been immersing myself in Alex Ferrari's podcast, Next Level Soul. And I forget who he was interviewing at the time, but I love what they said. They were talking about how we all make plans for our future. We have health plans, financial plans, retirement plans, etc., but no ascension plan. And now is really the time to be doing this. Not just thinking about it, but actually doing something a little bit every day. And it can be as simple as sitting quietly, tuning into the heart, tuning into our breathing, and acknowledging the I am presence within us. This is why I do the Galactic Activations, honestly. And they may not be appropriate for everyone, but they're made available to those who do resonate with the fact that we are cosmic beings. Our DNA holds our galactic higher self and our earthly human self. As I've said before, we are all starseed mutts. But realizing that there's no separation and that we all have participated in this epic movie throughout many lifetimes, the fastest way to heal and unify our world is to heal the conflict within our own being. It is all you, it is all me, and together we are all actors in this divine field of dreams, meeting ourselves as if for the first time. So let's make this dream as beautiful as we possibly can and give this movie a happy ending. So that is what I have for you. I am sending all of you my heartfelt thanks for tuning in and for adding your light and energy in this unfolding story. Please stay tuned for the frequencies, and I look forward to being with you next time, whenever that is. Until then, be well. Bye for now.